All right. So I'll just get started with a quick name and title.
Okay. It's Sean Wright, SEAN-WRIGHT, Executive Director of the Grand Theater.
Fantastic. And you're aware this can be used on the radio?
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. So obviously, with the recent rankings that are out, we're seeing that the Grand Theater is getting lots of national attention. What does it mean to be, for the Grand Theater to be in the same breath as places like the Ryman and these places with such historical significance to this business?
Yeah, it's incredible to be recognized as one of the top 200 venues in the world, and to be amongst a company of, as you said, the Ryman, the Radio City Music Hall, the Grand Ole Opry, the Royal Albert Hall. It just shows number one, the amazing community and region that we have here that supports the Grand, and it's a tribute to the work of our entire staff to bring hundreds of thousands of people through our door every year. Just goes to show of how key the Grand is to this community and this entire region.
For sure. Obviously everybody in Marathon County and in this area, they know of the Grand. They've come to see shows at the Grand. You guys have had quite the impressive lineup this year that has brought a lot of different acts and talents to this area. I know earlier this year there was some conversation around Wausau, if there's room in the area for a second venue and if that's viable. Do you still think that, I believe it was your position at the time that there wasn't enough room, is that still your thought?
Yeah, obviously it's a great community and a great region, and they've been incredibly supportive. But I don't think our community is really ready to support two internationally viable touring markets, and particularly as was mentioned at the time, competition for touring acts gets harder and harder each year, and we have to work harder and harder to get those talented acts to come to Marathon County and to Wausau in particular. So while we would love nothing more for our community to continue to grow and get to the point where multiple venues can be supported, I don't think we're just quite there yet, but we're happy to be the one who's here and providing entertainment for our entire region.
Absolutely. And another thing, a lot of businesses in the area, especially now, we're in that holiday season. I believe it was AAA who said that they're expecting a major bounce back since the pandemic. About 115 million people are expected to travel over this next week. Has the Grand Theater seen those types of bounce backs since the pandemic as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Our numbers are up, as is the entire live entertainment industry. This was the first time ever that a single concert tour hit $1 billion in sales with Taylor Swift's tour. And so, while we're certainly not bringing Taylor Swift to the Grand as much as we'd love to, our industry is strong, and we have seen that bounce back from the pandemic. And as you said, going into a holiday season, our holiday sales are strong, whether it was Nutcracker, whether it's the Altenburg show coming up this weekend, Mannheim Steamroller next week. It's a very busy holiday season, and yes, we're seeing people coming out for all types of shows.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the shows just seem to be so great that you have, some people here that just don't want to leave, it seems,
Absolutely. It's wonderful to see our patrons who come back time and again, and, our subscribers. We've got subscribers who take 20 plus shows in a given year, and it's amazing to see that. And then they take more shows when we add shows throughout the year. So our calendar is very full, and we have a very loyal base of patrons, and we're excited about the number of new patrons that we're bringing in as well. Shows like Charlie Barron's bringing new patrons of all ages, and so we're excited about what we've accomplished in 2023, and excited for what's to come in 2024.
Absolutely. And I guess with a lot of these things in mind, the things that we've touched on, the things that people hear, in the news, and it's just usually in the public, what is something, that's maybe about the Grand or, going on right now that, that involves the Grand that's just not getting the attention that maybe it should be?
Yeah, I think one thing that we always like to spotlight is the number of free and low-cost events that we do. Our community engagement series does a lot of events surrounding performances. We just had our Insta Choir last week, or a free event where people come and learn under the direction of Dr. Tim Buchholz from UWSP at Wausau a song in an hour. So they did Little Saint Nick by the Beach Boys, learned it, sang it, recorded it. It's on our social media if folks want to check out. So things like that. Our Lift Every Voice series, which brings artists from diverse backgrounds to the Grand. We have 2 of those shows coming up in January, and including Among Artists and a really talented group of Portuguese Americans, and so it's a really, those are all free and or low cost, and we want people to come out and enjoy them. We love to have these big sold out touring shows, but it's just as important to have these community events at the Grand.
For sure. And I guess my last thought here for you was, is there maybe something that I haven't asked or that I haven't touched on, that, you were kind of hoping to get out there or, for us to discuss?
I think the thing we just want to say is thank you to the community and thank you to the region for their support of the Grand. It's, markets our size don't traditionally, have a Grand Theater, or if they do, they're certainly not recognized internationally in terms of ticket sales, and that's just because of the support of the community we have, whether it's ticket buyers or attendees, sponsors, donors, or our amazing volunteers. It takes a village to wind up in these rankings, and we're lucky that we have a really fantastic village.
Absolutely. And I guess with you mentioning that, I had one last question. Do you know how many theaters like this are really left, not just in North America, but in the world that have history like this?
Yeah, I mean, the great news is there are really still thousands of historic theaters around the country and around the world, but the reality is in far too many markets they they're not as viable as they were 10, 20, 30 years ago. And so that's kind of the amazing story of the Grand, is that obviously we went through a period where there was a great deal of conversation in our community in the 1980s. Was the Grand going to continue to exist? It was badly in need of repair, and the community stepped up and said, no, we want to have the Grand here. And and here we are, from the reopening after the renovations in 1987 to the Arts Block project to today. The community has supported us and made sure that this coming up on 100-year-old gem, if you can believe it, is here and will be here for years to stay.
It's stronger than ever. I hear from people all the time, that they've got show, that they're coming here for a show, and it just still seems to be this iconic landmark for this area. And,
yeah, it really is. We're fortunate. It's an iconic venue, historic venue, and the great thing is it really, it lifts the entire downtown. There's nothing we love more on a show night than a full house for a show, because we know it just doesn't mean a full house for us. It means a full house for the restaurants and bars in the downtown. It means people coming in from out of town and staying in lodging, and it helps us showcase Wausau, not just to the people who live here, but for the people who might want to live here.
Mm-hmm. And I guess with that, we mentioned that we're coming up on the holiday season, and travel, people coming into town and things like that. Obviously, you guys have some great shows coming up over this next week. If there's tickets still available for some of those shows, where can they go to come see them?
Easiest place to get them is at grandtheater.org, or they can obviously stop in downtown in our box office. But those holiday shows are going fast, so we recommend people get them.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, John, for just sitting down with me for a couple of minutes here, talking about the Grand, those fantastic rankings, and we look forward to seeing you down the line.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Awesome.